Well, it looks like Monique's older son has spoken out. Hmm. So it's your girl, Goddess Raven, and of course this is trending topic and tarot readings or just readings. So let's get all up into this. Looks like Shalon has spoken out about his mom and them being estranged from each other. But let's give some background to it, which I think a lot of people are not going to be giving. Born in Baltimore, Maryland in July 1992, Shalon Calvin Jackson is the offspring of American comedian Monique and Mark Jackson. The 30-year-old celebrity, named after the Hebrew word Sharon, symbolizes peace and harmony, bears the English Scottish surname Jackson. Okay, go ahead. Now, Mark Jackson and Monique tied the knot in December 25th, 1997, and together they had two kids, Shalon and Mark. Okay, unfortunately, their marriage journey came to an end, leading to a divorce in 2001, April 3rd. Now, Monique, the comedian, was briefly engaged to Kenny Mugg before marrying Mark Jackson in 1997, resulting in two sons. After the divorce, she gave birth to twins in 2005. In 2006, she married Sidney Hicks. Their open marriage they discussed their open marriage and how it was built on trust and this, that, and the other. Monique clarified that their openness isn't solely about sex, but transparency. In her Netflix special in April of 2023, she revealed experiencing attraction to women, clarifying that she's not entirely a lesbian, but acknowledged her feelings. Now, Monique stressed her commitment to an honest relationship, highlights her enduring friendship with Hicks since adolescent and rejecting a conventional secretive marriage. Now, when it comes to her kids, Shalon Calvin Jackson, son of comedian Monique, has four half siblings: Mark, Heaven, Micah, and Christian. Yeah. Okay, now, and when it comes to relationship, Shalon Jackson experienced neglect as Monique, the Oscar winning actress, focused on her Hollywood career. Despite meeting his physical needs, Shalon lacked emotional attention, yearning for his busy mother's presence. Mark, his father, became his primary companion. Monique acknowledged in an interview that her pursuit of stardom led to sacrifices, leaving her eldest son, Shalon, and her husband, Sidney. Yeah. So when they say, you sell your soul, I don't honestly starting to believe that don't mean literally selling your soul, is that you make these sacrifices. The sacrifices aren't, taking of a life or, all these, eyes wide shut, robes and masks and stuff. The sacrifices are you make these sacrifices of giving up a chance to raise your kids, a chance to have time with your kids, a chance to be a mother, a chance to be a wife, a chance to be an auntie, a chance to be a niece, you know, all of those things. You give up all of those. You make those sacrifices. I'm starting to think that maybe that's what it is with these sacrifices. Not always is it a ritual sacrifice. So she didn't have a relationship with her son. He didn't get the emotional support he needed from her. And basically, his father raised him. So, despite her Oscar success, she feels a persistent void, recognizing the toll her fame seeking journey took on her role as mother and wife. Monique reflects on the challenges of balancing fame and family, admitting shortcomings in nurturing relationships. So, she wasn't good at being a mother. She wasn't. So, she would give money, but as far as the emotional support that a child really needed, she wasn't there. So it looks like He's speaking out. So let's get into what he got to say. I was gonna play it on that, but it's really low on that.
Guess I felt the need to make this video to just provide some context into this false narrative about her praying to the universe in order to reconcile our relationship or whatever the hell it is. I wrote it all down so that way I don't go all over the place and get emotional or anything like that. So I'm gonna talk like I'm reading a script, but it's just gonna help me kind of stay together. But to address the Club Shay Shay interview that she did, where she states that she prays to the universe in regards to reconciling our relationship, as I stated, is odd. My mother and I both know that that is a very false narrative, and I would like to free her of having to continue telling that lie. Faith work is dead, and neither one of us cares to put forth any effort to reconcile with the other. We are separate, as she put it, because she doesn't care to be my mother any more than I care to be her son. Neither one of us has had the desire to reach out to the other in a very long time, and I don't think that either of us anticipates that feeling ever returning. Speaking with my mother directly, in my experience, will either lead to some odd newfound moment of clarity in regards to how she was as my mother, or she retreats back to daddy to move forward with a conversation. And I'm tired of hearing my mother's truths. Newsflash, I'm not sure if people know, but standing in your truth doesn't make you noble. I'm not sure if people are aware of that. But responding this way, I feel as though it allows me to say my piece uninterrupted. To those wondering, well, why say something now? Call it a form of therapy for me, I suppose.
That boy need it.
But when her daddy had intentionally stated that they have 3 sons, but his wife is on the internet talking about the 4th son in a video that has millions of views, that rubbed me the wrong way. But anyway, to inform a child that you are not interested in being a mother at a time when that kid is the only kid that has the potential to lead a child to believe that you are not interested in them specifically. But to take it a step further, you also admit, my mother had also admitted to me that she didn't do the best job that she could do, which would also make one begin to question, all of your past decisions and prior emotional interactions. But to be completely honest and fair, those were things that I was willing to get over. Nobody's perfect. We're all human. But my mother showed a clear lack of humility, compassion, and consideration when taking any level of accountability for those things. My mother does a fantastic job of acknowledging a lot of things, but she doesn't take accountability very well, and anything that she may take true accountability for, it's only at her convenience, in my experience. But if I had to guess, though, her interest in being...
That's very telling, because Monique, throughout the situation between Tyler Perry and Oprah, she doesn't admit any fault in it. The fact that most artists, most actors are required to do press junkets, go around, they got the little press packets or whatever, like they're supposed to go around, and they go with their agent or whatever, or whoever, their assistant, and they go on these interviews to promote the movie that they're in. That's just what they do. A lot of times you're not paid for that, but it helps promoting the movie, because if your movie is successful, that means your paycheck for that next movie that you do could be higher. Monique doesn't want to admit that I could have did things differently. I could have spoke about things differently. I could have went about things differently. Two wrongs don't make a right. Okay, you not right for not going on that press tour. And Tyler and them ain't right for blackballing you for that. But you rubbed them the wrong way. You did too much. You went beyond and beyond and beyond and beyond and into infinity with your mess. And I think that's a big problem Monique has of not admitting her fault in it. And I've been saying this, that this woman can, she doesn't want to admit her fault in it. She has the same issue that other people have, egos. Egos. Her ego, I got a Grammy or what, I got an Emmy or whatever, I got an Oscar for what I, so now I deserve the $1 billion treatment. I deserve that treatment. I do. I deserve it. I deserve it. Just like Taraji out here complaining about food service and having to drive to the job. Like, I had to leave my $1 million home and drive my 6 point something million home to drive to my job. And they didn't have the caviar and champagne dreams that I expected at the buffet. And it wasn't catered. Like, how dare, this is the that I'm talking about. Sometimes there's an old saying in Jamaica that you have to kiss it till you can kick it. You got to kiss it until you can kick it. That means you got to keep quiet until you can get better. Let's get enough money so you can open up your own stuff. You can do your own thing. At this point, I'm agreeing with Tasha K. Monique could have been had her own studio by now. Monique could have been, did some other things to make her situation work. There's no reason that she and her husband should be going to Kevin Hart to borrow coins to pay bills. Hit the comedy circuit. Get out there. Monique, I guarantee you there was jobs Monique could have took all this time doing comedy to hone her skills all these years. I guarantee you there were some roles she could have took. But it won't fit the narrative of victim. Oh, they didn't call me back for this. Oh, this person didn't call me back for that. Well, F them. Us regular people go through this BS all the time of hitting up our people, so-called damn friends, expecting them to have our damn back. And then you call, you hear, you and the voice, it go to voicemail. It don't even go to voicemail sometimes. Sometimes it's just like it ring once and you like it's dead zone. You know how many times us normal people who ain't millionaires been let down? Plenty. By family, everybody. Everybody. I can tell you there's at least 30 people out here. I know there's plenty of people. There's hundreds of thousands of people that can relate to your story about being molested. Who hasn't? Who hasn't been touched by a flipping cousin? We all can relate to that. Go back to this son's trauma.
Mother probably started around the time that she married her daddy and had his children. But that interest, obviously seemed one-sided, and as it should have been. By that time, I'm in my late teens, so to some degree, the neglect becomes easier to hide or validate. I guess you could say there are now two baby boys in the house, that require attention. But still, during that time, however, I still watched her enjoy the love and admiration of total strangers more than my own. To this very day, my mother has never expressed to me when, if ever, she became interested in me as her son. That did lead me down a path of questioning my self-worth and struggling to understand the value of a mother in a child's life. In the interview, she also states that she gave me an apology, but an apology to a son from a mother that consciously showed no interest in him holds no weight.
Facts.
There are still women to this day that my mother will give credit to for being more of a mother to me than she ever could. Her assistant, my cousin, being one of them. Every time, though, that my mother would state that she was right here whenever I was ready. That ideology still blows my mind today, that a person could openly admit to being an uninterested, not put my best foot forward type of parent, and be.
This shit blows my mind that this woman, this, oh my gosh. This is very triggering for me because I wasn't raised by my mom. It is so crazy that you try to act like you such a good person, Monique. That you are such a good person, and you sit up here with the Leonard, Shannon, Kat, my brother, my sister. If you say I'm your auntie, if you say that you're my auntie, I'm your auntie, and you can't even treat your son right. You want to sit up here and talk about how you everybody auntie, sister, cousin, brother, motherfucker, and you can't even treat your kids right. So you really is a fucking precious, huh? So you played the role because the role was something you already played without the abuse, the extra abuse, and all the other stuff that Precious went through. But you was just you. So you played a bad mother because you is a bad mother, right?
So self-centered that they still express to the kid, you have to come to me when you're ready. You got to come to me for us to make this right.
Wow.
Okay. I'm not sure what my mother could possibly think that she has shown me in the past or have for me now that's not money, goodness gracious, that would make me want to come to her or whatever those feelings are supposed to be. Um, a mother is supposed to be the first woman that a boy falls in love with. I loved my mother very much, but my mother loved things more than she loved me, and she would validate her love for me by giving me things and would proceed to call me ungrateful or inconsiderate if said things did not have the desired effect.
I've been through there,
I
man.
couldn't imagine what it's like to be her, though, to ask God for what you want, and then he gives you what you need, though, only for you to ignore it and have the audacity to ask God for something else. And I'm glad I didn't do that. And when he told you no, you went to the universe instead. By no means, though, do I want to give off any type of an impression that I'm a victim of anything. That is not the case. As you can see, I'm smiling from ear to ear. I'm alive. I'm happy. I'm a dad. I'm healthy, I think. I drink a lot of water. I'm getting over a cold now. I still have my days just like everybody else. And, there were a few things that she did teach me along the way. I did learn how not to love from my mother. I also learned to make sure that I never lose so much of who I am that I have to validate it through another person. And though I feel as though, in hindsight, I think she did it reluctantly, I do appreciate my mother, for showing me what the top of the mountain looks like. You know what I'm saying? It did give me perspective on what hard work and dedication can get you, but I don't want something like that at the cost of giving up something that I created. I don't want it that bad. And speaking of creations, I genuinely, truly, I really did want my mother to have a relationship with my daughter. I even fought through those intrusive thoughts that were, if she wasn't interested in you, what makes you think she's going to be interested in your kid? But it took my mother no time at all to prove that those intrusive thoughts were correct. But what I can say, good for her, the universe did, bless her with three other sons. Bless her with three other sons, and God willing, I'm sure that one of them, all three of them are adults now. So I'm sure that one of them, God willing, if not all three of them, will make her the grandmother that she wants to be. I still look forward, to that moment for her. But overall, when it comes to the boys, though, I am happy that whenever they do hear me talk, Sorry, my phone did something weird. But no, but whenever they hear me talk, they don't know what it is. They can't relate to what it is that I'm saying. My experience with my mother is not their experience with our mother. So my prayer for her and them is that they continue to see her the way that they see her now. I do also want to make sure that I say thank you to my mother for giving me life. Without that moment in time, I wouldn't have had my little one. But outside of that moment, there isn't anything that either of us has to offer the other. In my opinion, it's a waste of God's time and the universe's time for praying for something that you are not willing to put forth any effort to obtain. Putting the work into becoming Monique is more important to my mother than being my mother. And I do not believe that it was never about her being there and waiting for me, but it was supposed to be about me being there and waiting for her. Um, my mother's value had reached such a low point in my life that I no longer found it necessary to either want to wait for her or even go to her. But like I said, man, I'm super grateful that she has the opportunity to do it all over again. As before, I hope the Cat Williams tour goes well, but the narrative that she prays for us to reconcile is a false narrative. It's not real, and I'd appreciate it if she stopped saying stuff like that.
Y'all, please comment below and let me know how you feel. That was so triggering for me. And I know for a lot of people who was raised by their mom or wasn't raised by their father, their parents wasn't there for them. They've been through a lot. And then their parents come back around and act like it's nothing. Or y'all comment below and let me know what y'all think about him expressing his side of things. And I believe this. I believe this man. I believe this man. I 100% believe this man because that's his story has been consistent from years ago. He's been saying this. So I don't know what's going on with him and his brother. I don't know because there's another brother from that relationship as well. So I don't know if I don't think I don't know. It looked like she might have a relationship with three, but not the one. I don't know, child. Mm. I know how this feels. I absolutely know how this feels, and it's a tough. That's the trauma associated with it. It's something that you can't get over. I don't give a damn how long it takes. It's something you cannot get over, even with therapy.